She walked into the courtroom acting like the truth was something she could outrun, sitting tall, eyes steady, as if the walls around her were just another place she could charm her way through. But the moment the video lit up the screen, every trace of confidence drained from the room. People leaned in. No one breathed. What they saw in those final recorded seconds felt cold and final. The kind of truth that doesn't give second chances. Faces changed. The judge watched without blinking, and she finally understood what everyone else already knew. This was not a day she could smile her way out of. This was the day her choices caught her.
Mackenzie Shirilla, at the time 17 years old, is accused of intentionally crashing a vehicle with her 20-year-old boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and told her in a text that her vision faded to black in the minutes before. Shirilla even telling her she wanted to get hypnotized.
Before the crash, Mackenzie Shirilla looked like a normal teenage girl from Strongsville, Ohio. Someone who liked soft lighting and selfies, cute outfits, and long car rides with music turned up. She grew up in a quiet home with her parents, Natalie and Steve, who gave her a comfortable life. People at school knew her face, knew her style, and many even followed the way she dressed. She had a TikTok account with a large crowd watching her every move, and companies sent her clothes and products to try because her posts traveled fast around young people. She liked the attention, and she used it, posing, laughing, and building an online world where everything looked bright and easy. But behind the screens was a girl who often copied the attitude of Regina George from Mean Girls, acting bossy, sharp, and dramatic, something classmates remembered clearly. Even with the smiling pictures, there was something stormy underneath, something that came out most when she was around the person she loved and fought with the most. Dominic Russo was older, 20 years old, already running small businesses and moving with confidence through the town. He had graduated from Strongsville High School before Mackenzie, and people said he had charm, but also pressure on his shoulders because he worked, planned, and dreamed of building more. Mackenzie and Dominic dated for 4 years, a long stretch for teenagers, but their connection was never calm. It was full of breakups, getting back together, long fights, and small moments that seemed sweet only until the next argument exploded. The pair shared a friend named Davion Flanagan, a 19-year-old who was adopted at the age of 8 by a guardian who gave him the home and safety he needed after coming from a family affected by drugs. Davion was athletic, kind, and easy to talk to. He did not get tangled in drama, but he cared about both Dominic and Mackenzie, which placed him near their storms more often than anyone realized. He was the friend who joined them on rides, helped cool down arguments, and tried to bring peace when their voices rose too high. He had no way of knowing that one night with them would be the last night of his life. Mackenzie, Dominic, and Davion spent the entire night moving from one place to another, and no one around them had any idea that this night would end in the most terrifying way. They first went to a graduation party at the house of one of Mackenzie's friends. They stayed only for a short time. Nothing unusual happened, and they seemed completely normal. After that, they drove to another friend's house, where they listened to music and hung around for hours. Some people smoked marijuana, but even then, everything appeared calm. There were no arguments, no signs of danger, no tension that anyone could see. To everyone else, it looked like a typical late-night hangout. They stayed inside until the sky outside began to lighten. It was almost morning when the three finally walked out to Mackenzie's Toyota Camry. They were tired, quiet, and ready to head home. No one watching them walk to that car could have predicted what would happen next. The Camry pulled away into the still, quiet early morning streets. It looked like a simple ride home, but the calm in the air did not match what was building inside that car. There were old fights, long-standing arguments, and weeks of emotional tension sitting between Mackenzie and Dominic. Problems that were far from resolved. Those issues followed them into the car like a shadow. At around 5:30 a.m. on July 31st, 2022, surveillance cameras in an industrial area of Strongsville captured something strange. Mackenzie's Camry slowly driving down Alameda Drive, looping back around, and then, just seconds later, accelerating at extreme speed. The camera on a nearby street captured the car turning slowly onto Progress Drive. It looked calm. It looked steady. But a few seconds later, the same car appeared again on another camera, only this time, it was moving fast. So fast that its headlights were not even on. The dark road ahead was empty. No cars. No people. Just one fast-moving vehicle heading straight into an industrial area where businesses were closed, and no one was watching. Inside that car, Mackenzie was driving. Dominic was in the passenger seat. Davion sat in the back. None of them spoke on camera. None of them asked for help. No one had time to run. The car suddenly surged forward like something inside had snapped. It was not a small push. It was full speed. The pedal was down all the way. The car flew down the road with no sign of slowing down. No turning. No brakes. No hesitation. The world outside the windows blurred into darkness. Then, the car hit the brick wall of the Plidco building. The impact was so strong that officers later said the car looked like it had been torn apart. When the Good Samaritan found the wreck, the engine was crushed, metal was everywhere, and glass covered the ground. Dominic and Davion were lifeless where they sat. Mackenzie was still in the driver's seat. Her foot was still pressing down on the accelerator. She was unconscious, but breathing. The morning sun started to rise as the sirens got closer. The body cam videos showed how heavy the moment was. Firefighters ran to the car, calling out, checking pulses, trying to make sense of the scene. They pulled doors. They used tools. They looked for any movement. Dominic and Davion were declared dead on the spot. Their bodies had taken the full force of the crash. Mackenzie was badly hurt. She had broken bones, and her face was pale. But she was alive. That fact alone shocked many people. She was airlifted to a hospital for surgery, while the boys were covered, marked, and taken away. The officers looked at the wreck and said it was the worst crash they had ever seen. They wondered how someone survived a crash like that when the others did not. They wondered why the car never slowed. They wondered how a car could hit a building so fast without even trying to stop. They did not know it yet, but these questions would follow this case for months.
The court pointed to evidence and data that was pulled from the car Shirilla crashed.
At first, the police thought this was a tragic accident. They knew it was a bad crash, but early morning wrecks happen. Someone could fall asleep. Someone could lose control. Someone could make a mistake. But clues started showing up slowly, and each clue made the crash feel less like an accident and more like something else. Officers found psilocybin mushrooms in Mackenzie's things. They found a digital scale. They found odd behavior on her social media. There were videos of her joking about drugs. There were posts of her at concerts while still in a wheelchair. There were clips of her laughing and saying she was the kind of girl who could do a lot of drugs and not die. She even posted Halloween photos of Dominic and Davion dressed as corpses before the crash, which made people uneasy after knowing how they died. Her behavior confused many people. Some found it strange. Some found it cold. Some found it shocking. The families saw it and felt their hearts drop. These posts were not normal for someone whose boyfriend and friend had died next to her. It made investigators stay alert. It made officers reread every detail. Soon detectives found the surveillance videos from the industrial area. They watched the car turning calmly. Then, they watched the same car flying forward moments later like someone had slammed the pedal as hard as possible. They did not see panic. They did not see swerving. They did not see any last-second movement that would show fear or loss of control. It looked like a straight line to the wall, like the car was following a path someone chose. This made detectives look deeper.
The driver never attempted to hit the brakes before the car crashed into a wall, killing 19-year-old Davion Flanagan and 20-year-old Dominic Russo.
They brought in a mechanic who checked the car. He found no broken brakes, no stuck pedals, no steering problems. The car was fully functional that morning. Nothing failed. Nothing snapped. Then detectives got the car's black box. The numbers inside told the truth that no one could argue with. The accelerator was pushed all the way down. The brake was never touched. The speed reached 100 miles per hour. There was no sign that the driver wanted to save anyone inside that car. These numbers made the officers freeze. If the car was working and the brake was never touched, then someone did this on purpose. While the car evidence shocked the investigators, the relationship history between Mackenzie and Dominic shocked them even more. People who knew the couple said they had been together for years, but were very unstable. They broke up many times. They fought loudly. They threatened each other. But most of the trouble seemed to come from Mackenzie. By 2021, they were living together, a choice that only made everything heavier. Dominic's family saw the change. They heard the arguments through the phone. They noticed how fast things went from calm to frightening. His mother, Christine, tried to guide him, tried to pull him out, and tried to protect him when he felt trapped. 6 months before the crash, things became worse than ever. In July 2022, Dominic called his mother in a panic, saying he needed help. Christine sent a family friend to get him out of the house. That friend later said Mackenzie was yelling, hitting Dominic with her hands, and threatening that she would wreck the car right there on the spot. Another video from that same month showed her outside Dominic's home, shouting and threatening to break inside. These were the signs of something dark growing, something that was no longer hidden behind closed doors. There were other moments too. Dominic called friends to pick him up because he did not feel safe riding in the car with her. One time on the highway, she told him she would crash the car right then, and he believed her. That same friend arrived to find Mackenzie swinging at Dominic with both hands while the car door stood open. Dominic walked away, shaking, angry, scared. There were recordings too, clips Dominic took to protect himself. In one, she screamed at him, pounded on his door, and counted down like she was warning him of something bad. She demanded he open the door. She called him names. Dominic tried to calm her, but she never stopped. He had to put the phone down and call for help again. These moments were not misunderstandings. They were not accidents. They formed a pattern of threats, a pattern of pressure, a pattern of fear, a pattern that started to paint a picture no one wanted to accept at first. While Mackenzie lay in the hospital with broken bones and bandages, detectives were busy piecing together the story she claimed she couldn't remember. They checked her GPS history and froze when they saw it. She had driven to the same quiet industrial area 3 days before the crash. It was not a place she ever went, not a place where teenagers hung out, not a place she accidentally ended up. Detectives stared at the screen and wondered if she had gone there to test the road, to look around, to plan something long before that final drive. They talked to friends next. The more they listened, the darker the picture became. Many friends said the couple fought constantly. Some said they weren't shocked when the crash happened. Some said Mackenzie got angry fast, too fast. Some said she made threats. Some admitted they had seen her treat Dominic in ways that scared them. Every interview pushed the investigation one step closer to her. Then detectives looked at her online life, and what they saw didn't match the grief she talked about. Witnesses said she was inconsolable when she first learned Dominic and Davion had died, but her social media told a different story. She posted videos from inside the hospital, showing the hallways, the machines, the food, the wheelchair. Her account exploded with new followers. Modeling agencies reached out. Her views climbed. Her comments filled with attention. She filmed herself at concerts in a wheelchair. She posted satirical videos. In one clip, she looked straight at the camera and said, "I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die." Detectives watched these videos and felt the same uneasiness Dominic's family had felt for months. Then there were the pictures. Photos she posted of Dominic and Davion dressed as corpses for Halloween. Davion's sister saw them and felt her stomach drop. She told her family. Something was wrong. She told them to call the police. She knew that kind of behavior didn't belong to someone who was heartbroken. It belonged to someone hiding a darker truth.
They've interviewed several people, including Shirilla's ex-boyfriend.
10th grade. And that's kind of when like all of us stopped being friends with just her. We were all cool enough still. Just because she's so like crazy, she'll blow everyone's phone up.
Still, at the start, detectives treated the crash like a terrible accident. For a short time, Some even believed someone might have tampered with the car. They brought in a mechanics expert, someone who could look at every pedal, every wire, every piece of the engine. His conclusion was clear and firm. The car was working perfectly. Nothing was broken. Nothing was altered. The brakes worked. The pedals worked. Everything responded exactly the way it should have. When Mackenzie was finally questioned, she said she remembered nothing. She said she blacked out. She said the crash came from nowhere. But the evidence kept stacking up, and her answers stayed thin and shaky. Detectives could feel the shift happening. This wasn't looking like an accident anymore. This was looking like a choice. As they pulled more data from her phone, her apps, her GPS, the story sharpened. Police began to believe she had driven into the wall on purpose. They suspected a murder-suicide attempt, driven by the fear that Dominic was going to break up with her again. The GPS ping from the industrial area 3 days before the crash wasn't random. It wasn't harmless. It was preparation. Piece by piece, the investigation tightened around her, and every new detail made the truth harder to escape. On November 4th, 2022, Mackenzie Shirilla left the hospital and was immediately arrested. Police had gathered enough evidence to charge her with 17 crimes, including 2 counts of aggravated murder. Bodycam footage later released in 2025 showed her crying as officers handcuffed her. In the police cruiser, she closed her eyes, trying to calm herself, but the weight of what had happened and what was coming was impossible to escape.
Hi, Mackenzie. Step out for me.
Months after the crash that took so much from so many.
You're under arrest for aggravated murder ×2, okay? Nobody's gonna ask you any questions. Nobody's gonna bother you.
Police had their case.
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet, please?
You got it. You got it.
Handcuffs replaced jewelry as Shirilla was ultimately tried, convicted, and sentenced for murder over the next couple years.
Okay, just keep your hands right here. You're not gonna tighten these, okay? We don't want to hurt you. I'm right by that black mat. Straightforward. Yep.
Okay, Mackenzie, I'm gonna take your handcuffs off. I need like all the jewelry and everything to come off, okay?
I can't wear any of it.
No, I need you to take it off while you're in jail right now.
I can't wear these.
No, unfortunately, everything's gonna have to come off right now once we know when the detective comes back and we know for sure what's going on. Everything's gonna be bagged up here. It's not going anywhere.
Sorry, this is just like one of those which is really hard to get off.
That's fine. Take your time.
Her trial began in 2023 as a bench trial, meaning a judge would decide her guilt instead of a jury. Prosecutors painted a dark picture. They said Shirilla had no remorse, had threatened to crash the car before, and had used social media to celebrate life while the boys she killed were gone. Videos of her dancing on Halloween and posting from the hospital were brought up as evidence. Judge Nancy Margaret Russo called her hell on wheels, stating that her actions were deliberate, controlled, and premeditated. During the trial, witnesses testified about Shirilla's toxic relationship with Dominic Russo. They described constant fights, breakups, and threats. Prosecutors highlighted the 2-week-old incident on the highway when Shirilla allegedly told Dominic she would crash the car and attacked him. Security video of the crash played in court, showing her Camry accelerating to nearly 100 miles per hour with no attempt to brake before smashing into the brick building. On August 14th, 2023, the verdict was delivered. Shirilla was found guilty on multiple charges, including murder, felonious assault, and aggravated vehicular homicide. On August 21st, she was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. She received 2 life terms, one for killing Dominic, one for Davion Flanagan, served concurrently. Her driver's license was permanently revoked. During sentencing, Davion's sister asked for the maximum punishment, while Dominic's mother told Shirilla to be thankful she was alive and had a future. Shirilla's parents, Steve and Natalie, challenged the narrative immediately. They insisted that Mackenzie had suffered a medical event at the wheel and that the crash was not intentional. They claimed that crucial evidence was ignored during the trial. Medical records showing a condition called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, access to automotive experts, and text messages contradicting the prosecution's version of events. These text messages, reviewed by her new legal team, revealed that Dominic had apologized multiple times in the weeks before the crash. They suggested Shirilla was not always the aggressor, challenging the idea that she had planned the fatal crash. Her new attorneys argued that this evidence could have changed the outcome if presented properly. Despite filing multiple appeals, the family faced setbacks. Courts rejected their petitions due to technicalities or timing issues. The Ohio Supreme Court declined to hear the latest appeal, keeping the conviction in place. Today, Mackenzie remains incarcerated at the Ohio Reformatory for Women, maintaining daily contact with her family through texts and calls. Her mother says Mackenzie keeps a journal, always writing, "The truth will set me free." Mackenzie's story continues to spark debate. Was it premeditated murder or a tragic accident shaped by unseen medical complications? The truth, for now, remains locked behind bars as the young woman waits for her chance to tell it. You've seen the evidence. You've followed the story. Now it's your turn. Do you believe this was a tragic accident or a calculated plan carried out with intent? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.